During the last few years, we've ventured into a lot of different fields, and we've had the opportunity to meet and work with a lot of wonderful people. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Congratulations, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Congratulations to you.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Walt Daily podcast. This is episode 53. We are a Disney couple, for those that don't know us by now. And one of us is a Disney fanatic and one of us is Disney challenged. But somehow we've made a way to make this relationship work.
You are Disney challenged.
I am fairly Disney challenged.
But I feel like people are going to think you're a fraud because as the year and couple months of doing this podcast, you've definitely come a long way. And I support you.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I know a lot of stuff now.
You do. I bet like if you just spout out some random, like you could spout out some random Disney facts if you wanted to.
People ask questions and I surprisingly will know the answer most times to like lay people. I'm like, crap, I know the answer to that. That's insane. And then I help them. They're like, thank you. I'm like, you're welcome.
Well, what's insane is that you're upset that you know the answer.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't knowledge power?
It's weird, though, that I know so much about Disney now.
Well, the more you know. Yeah. Little star.
Anywho, let's start with some headlines.
Okay. So the big headline right now is, of course, The Incredibles 2.
Okay.
So it was released officially on June 15th, which was last Friday.
Yeah.
And it broke box office records. So it now holds the largest opening weekend for an animated film, where previously it was Finding Dory in 2016. So that one, I believe, made $135 million, but The Incredibles 2 made $180 million this weekend domestically.
So world record.
It is a domestic record.
Oh, domestic record.
Yeah.
Domestic world record.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
If
cool.
that's a thing.
Yeah. Nice.
And then, yeah, I mean, it's so crazy. I've been trying to avoid spoilers left and right. I don't know. I don't even want to read like Rotten Tomatoes. I'm trying to avoid it like the plague because I don't want anything to influence my viewing experience because we did not see it yet.
No, not yet.
I still stand by we should see it in IMAX though when we do see it.
We'll see. Something might change your mind along the way, but we'll get there. What's the next headline?
Next headline. And this is kind of, I don't know, it's not like a breaking headline necessarily like The Incredibles 2 is, but just in general, a lot of construction for Disney resorts are happening. So new Disney resorts. First and foremost being the Disney Riviera Resort that can be now seen from Epcot. So it's going to be in the Epcot area, and it just got me thinking, like, Disney's building all of these hotels, and good neighbor hotels too, so hotels that are not officially built by Disney, but that are going to be close to Disney property. I'm just thinking, how is there I didn't realize there was that much demand that they're building this hotel, that hotel, because I feel like this is the biggest expansion of resorts that's happened in so long. Mm-hmm. Aside from Vacation Club. So but I don't know, because then you think about also okay, let me start over. You think about that the best way for any business to run in terms of probably a hotel business is to always be at capacity. So having just the right amount of hotels for the people that are coming to you.
Yes.
So I'm thinking if they build too many, then they're not going to be filled, but that'll probably never happen because Disney World is just expanding by leaps and bounds. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're building maybe they just know they're going to start attracting so much more when some of these other things get built, and they're just like kind of projecting out about it.
I will say though, it's been a while where I've booked a hotel reservation and I wasn't worried that we wouldn't be able to get it.
I do wish we could see numbers though, like in terms of like capacity, like as they're like as it's going, and then we could know like when is a good time to go and it's not a good time to go, just based off of like, you know, trends and stuff. But companies are not open like that, which it would be nice to have that.
I know. I mean, there's like unofficial sites though that do calculate those types of numbers.
But I want it on Disney's website. Like, I don't want to trust like Joe Schmo like reports. You know, like
I'm sure they have very scientific backing.
I don't know. Anyway.
Well, so a little birdie tells me, the birdie's name's Richard, that you have a headline.
I do. So you're done? You're done with your headlines? Because my headline is going to go into the topics of today.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I have a headline, and it's going to go right into the topic of today's topic, which is going to be controversial stuff that Disney has done, or people think it's controversial about Disney.
Which scares me because Richie's going to be leading this episode.
Oh yeah. This is the Richie takeover.
Yeah. The last time this happened, it was blockchain, and there was conspiracy theories that came out of that episode.
Oh,
so
true.
I can only imagine what's going to happen with this one with your controversies.
Yeah. So and the idea came from our mishap recently about when we posted that wrong link by accident.
Yes.
So that's why, just to show that, you know, things happen. That's why we're doing this here. Anyway, but I'll start it off with a headline of recent Disney news. That's right. I knew this and she didn't. This is pretty cool.
See, this is what I'm talking about at the beginning of the episode, but that's besides the point. But go on.
What?
Like, you just know stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. You know, but the reason I know this is because this was trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
This news. It's not like some random thing that like not much people knew. This was trending on Twitter. This news that I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Okay, and it's about The Incredibles. Apparently, in The Incredibles movie...
No spoilers, please. Thank you.
There's no spoiler here in terms of the movie. However, there is a point in the movie where there is very dramatic flashing lights. And there's no warning for people that have epilepsy. And it is apparently triggerable, these flashing lights. And this is why this is trending, because unfortunately Disney did not make a disclaimer of like epilepsy warnings, which apparently you're supposed to if there's a possibility that it's there or something. I don't know the laws, but apparently people are really upset about it.
Wow.
And even there was like some foundation of like epilepsy that posted about it, and they're like, oh, like, you know, for this X percentage of people that have this triggerable epilepsy and migraines also, like, you have to be careful. And there's some movie theaters that have it posted as like a little old sign.
Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't done by Disney. So for those out there that have triggerable epilepsy by either by flashing lights or migraines that are triggered by flashing lights, you have to be extremely careful while watching this movie, because at some point, I don't know where it is, but at some point throughout the movie, there is like dramatic flashing lights that can trigger that.
Wow, that's a good. It's a Disney headline, but also a health warning.
Yes. Kill two birds with one stone there.
I know.
Yeah. So that's the thing, and it was trending on Twitter. So that was pretty interesting. So you can follow us on Twitter at the Walt Daily, by the way, if anyone's wondering.
So did you read any incidents that did actually happen, or it was just the warning was out there?
I saw warnings mostly that were official, but I saw unofficial tweets of people that did have a problem. But I'm not going to say that I saw that for sure, because I didn't do any research to actually figure out that was legit.
Yeah.
But I did see someone that like mentioned it in a tweet, like I didn't, like something happened to me and I had to be like carried out or something. But that was a tweet that I did not do any more research in, because I was just so excited to come and give everyone the warning. So.
Well, and I guess if you do suffer from those conditions, then please do your research prior to going to see when exactly that scene will be, because I'm sure if it's on Twitter, that some more information about when you're going to be encountering it is also out there.
Yeah.
So great tip, great headline.
Yes. So that brings us into, again, our topic.
Whatcha?
Controversial stuff that Disney has done, or people think that Disney did. It's a long title. It's working.
It's a working title.
Yeah, it's a working title.
We'll title it after we do the episode.
Yeah. So the first one is we're going to talk about the controversy of Disney princesses. So apparently, people have not been happy with the way that Disney has portrayed women in the images of the princesses. And they say that, you know, a lot of times they're like either catty, or they like depend on men too much, and like all they care about is love with the man, and that that's, and like, you know, I don't know, just all the stereotypes that a lot of people kind of think are not good. Disney like played to that a lot.
Yeah.
So being that you are a strong, powerful woman, I would like to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I definitely see how historically, especially with the classic Disney princesses, it was very much not about self-empowerment. It was more about finding that Prince Charming, which, I mean, it's interesting because that's a lot of, at least so those are the princesses that I grew up with, and that's what made me love Disney princesses, were the stories behind it, and the stories just happened to be about a woman who, or girl, because let's face it, a lot of times these Disney princesses are actually teenagers who are looking to find love, and somehow it saves them from something. Like Jasmine going to be married off to someone she didn't love, and then finding Aladdin, and then the end of the day, which I'm pretty sure the course of that movie was actually 2 days, she finds the one she loves and she's like, I'm gonna marry him, and then, you know, whatever. And then, I mean, Sleeping Beauty needed to be rescued by her prince in order to come back to life out of her sleep. I'm gonna call it a coma, just because.
That's controversial, but sure.
For lack of a better word. So, I mean, it's really, I could see how it's scandalous nowadays, because, I mean, things that were, and mind you, those movies are from like a really long time ago. So like back in the 50s, let's say, and even, I mean, Snow White was, what was it, the 30s, I believe, 30s or 40s. You know, women just had a different role in society at the time, and, you know, it wasn't about empowerment. But with that, I will say that I like the way that Disney princesses, the newer princesses, are being portrayed nowadays, because I think that Disney's more sensitive to more self-empowerment in terms of what they want to expose to growing women, so young girls, tweens, teenagers, whatever, what have you, even adults like me. Like, I remember when I saw Moana, and I was like, yes, she's looking to help, and she's finding her true self, and she doesn't need a man to do this. Although Maui did help, she doesn't need a man to have that self-empowerment and to know that she needs to change her life, and she's going to do it for herself and for her loved ones.
Yeah. So do you think Disney is being more reactive to the changing status of women in society, or do you think they took a more proactive role?
At this point, that's a great question. If you guys could see the way Richie's looking at me right now, he's been thinking about this. He's like, I'm going to ask her this. What do you think? And he's dropping the bomb on me.
Yeah.
In some ways, I do think that they're being reactive, but I think that it doesn't just go to Disney. I think that a lot of entertainment has been reactive. And I mean, not even just entertainment. So many aspects of our lives now are really being reactive towards all the scandal that's happening in various, what is it? I don't want to. They're being more reactive.
Okay.
So I don't think it's just the entertainment industry. I think it's a lot in politics and the workplace. And I mean, I think it's great. I think it's still taking a long time, and it sucks because Disney's definitely in a spotlight to be singled out for the way they've portrayed women, because they're such a huge, you know, what is mecca?
Yeah. I think it's going to have a significant impact on like women, or like, you know, girls now growing up, because I feel like everything that we do as kids end up having an impact on us later on. So I feel like if they're going to be growing up with certain values that they see in the cartoons that they watch and that kind of thing, I think that's going to play a significant role. So
I mean, I think about Mackenzie. So our niece, who's 2.5 years old, she turns 3 in October. She's growing up watching Elsa and Anna, who they found love in their sisterhood and not in finding a man. But at the same time, my sister's also showing them the classics. So she knows Cinderella, The Little Mermaid. And even though she's growing up in this time and being exposed also to these newer heroines, she still has those classic Disney princesses and classic Disney princess stories that she's growing up with too.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I think it makes for a well-rounded experience. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all for entertainment, and I think it's up to real life role models to help guide young women, and not just rely on what Disney has to expose to them. So.
Yeah, but if they can put that in the cartoon, that'd be great.
I know.
Help us out.
Hey, watch this. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks,
and then we
Disney.
can talk about it.
Cool. All right. So moving on to our second controversial thing that Disney has done, or maybe has done, because this isn't for sure.
Oh.
So in the movie The Lion King, I don't know if you've heard about this, but in the movie The Lion King, there's a scene where I think Elder Simba or Mufasa, I'm pretty sure it's Simba, is hanging out on the rock.
Yes.
The little stone thing. It's dark. There's a cloud that pops up, and you can't really see it initially, but it actually looks like it spells out the word, because he's like sitting there like thinking, right? And it says that it spells out the word sex.
Yeah.
S-E-X. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about this.
But apparently the people at Disney say that it's actually supposed to say SFX, which I don't know what that stands for.
Special
exactly.
effects.
Oh, there you go. Well, but to me, it clearly looked like it said sex,
Really?
being that he was just sitting there thinking on a mountain, possibly about, what's her name?
Nala.
Nala. Yeah. So...
I think that just since we don't know what the real facts are, because we do know that they said that when Disney was approached about this, that it doesn't say sex, it says SFX for special effects. I mean, it's not, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them, though, thinking that nobody would notice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. And just, I don't know, just because adults, they might want to have fun in their jobs.
Yeah. And some like,
and think they can get away with
yeah.
something.
And Scott thought it was gonna be super funny.
I know.
To
Darn
put
it,
it in there.
Scott. We got caught. Yeah. I would, like I said, I wouldn't put it past them, but at the same time, I feel like, since it hasn't really been confirmed, it kind of does look like it could be SFX. The story kind of goes like, oh, okay. You know, it wasn't just animation, I guess. It was special effects.
Well, here's a bonus. I didn't include this because I was really on the fence about it, but it's only because you knew about this one. But did you know that there's some parts of the Little Mermaid in that golden castle?
Yeah.
You heard about that too?
Yeah.
About how there's like phallic symbols in there?
Yeah.
God, you know all the
so-
controversies.
Well, I think it's good that we're talking about them though, because maybe not everybody does.
Yeah.
So in classic poster art for The Little Mermaid, the way that the art is laid out is the castle, King Triton's castle, is laid out in the middle, and squarely in the middle of the castle is a phallic type spire. And it's I feel like it's what it's called in castle speak. So it got a lot of pushback. So now in revised poster art versions, it's not there. It's been modified. But at the same time, it's like that one I feel like was less intentional, because maybe when you're designing something that's supposed to look like an under the sea castle, maybe you were inspired by things like barnacles or sea cucumbers, or what are those called? A gooey duck, which are these really weird phallic shaped clams. So maybe you were inspired by that when you were drawing up this castle under the sea. So that one I feel like maybe you didn't notice it, although you should have had somebody take a second look at it.
Hey, Scott, again. This is number 2 for you, bro.
You know what a lot of people, I say that very generally. I feel like there's always sayings that, oh, you should have had a woman look at this. And I don't know who designed it. Maybe it was a woman. Maybe it's somebody of the opposite gender to look at it, just to like see it from a different point of view.
Or maybe, I was gonna say, because maybe a woman drew it, and
Yeah.
she was, and like guys should be like, Karen,
50 Shades of Ariel.
Did you not see this? 50 Shades of Ariel. That's funny. Anywho, okay, so moving on to our third and final a potentially controversial topic.
Did you say the best for last?
Kinda. A little bit. It's relevant. So I haven't given credit to where I found these sources. So this last one is going to be from DisneyFanatic.com. The one about the Lion King was from RealRundown.com. And the one about the princesses was from ScreenRant.com. So I just wanted to give people their credit. Anyway, from DisneyFanatic.com, there was a post about people being really upset about Starbucks coming to Main Street. And I thought that was interesting because personally, if it wasn't there before, and then I got word that I was coming, I would be super excited. But apparently, people were not happy when that decision was made.
Yeah.
Do you know about this?
Well, because I remember when it was announced that they announced that they were going to put Starbucks and it was going to take over the Main Street Bakery. And the Main Street Bakery,
that's what it says.
it was such a staple of Main Street. And that's where people would go in the morning. They still sold coffee, so you could get just your regular old Disney coffee, non-Starbucks, but you could also get amazing breakfast treats, like this amazing cinnamon roll that they had. And with the installation of Starbucks, it became something, even though it still says that it's a bakery on the outside, it's not what Main Street Bakery truly was when it was first put into the park.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't just stop at, here's the crazy thing, and I did a flash briefing about the top places to find coffee at Walt Disney World, and I said Starbucks, and I said it was scandalous because everybody's not excited about Starbucks being in the park. I say this and it's kind of funny because both Richie and I currently have Starbucks on our table.
Facts.
So we're not sponsored by Starbucks or anything. Completely unpaid endorsement.
Not yet. Starbucks.
If only. But let's take it to Epcot, for instance. So Epcot, it used to be it was Fountain View Ice Cream, and it was like a ice cream shop where Starbucks currently is. And that was also kind of scandalous because people loved going there to get their ice cream, and the Starbucks took over. But, and this is the way I kind of rationalized it on my flash briefing, like, yes, Starbucks is there, but at the same time, these aren't just your run-of-the-mill Starbucks that you find on literally every 10 blocks, which is literally what happens in our neighborhood. Yeah. There's Starbucks 10 blocks away from each other.
We're not complaining, Starbucks.
No, we're not. We're not. I love it. The new one just opened.
Yeah, just get a new one.
So, but I want to take Hollywood Studios, for instance. So Hollywood Studios, the Starbucks is actually called the Trolley Car Cafe, and it's supposed to be a trolley warehouse that you would find in the golden age of Hollywood, like where the trolleys would go for maintenance, and you see a ton of things that go to that theming. So you see doors that say that the supervisor is here, you see meters, you see routes. Even though it's Starbucks and they serve Starbucks products, it's still completely well themed, which is exactly what Disney does the best. So I think that, yes, it kind of sucks that the memories and nostalgia that we had at these original places maybe aren't they're just memories now. But at the same time, I really enjoy a nice cup of Starbucks in the morning.
Yeah, it's literally the first thing I do when I go to Main Street.
Well, I feel like it's the first thing you do no matter which park we're in.
Yeah.
Like, where's the Starbucks?
Exactly. And it's cool because you get, what's cool about it, which I know, it's, I'm sorry about the bakery guys and everything, but, sorry for your loss.
I know, your empathy is completely apparent.
But, when you get a Starbucks at Disney, you don't just get a regular cup. You get, a Disneyed out cup.
Yeah, that is kind of cool because, and I even have just one that I've saved because they gave me two. So the Disney Starbucks cups have Mickey balloons and stars, and they have a Tinkerbell on them. So it's not just the regular Starbucks cup. It's got a little Disney to it. Yeah, so I like that as well.
That's pretty cool. Just kind of reminiscing on how far I've come in terms of what I learned. I feel like this could be like a Disney school.
Well,
people can graduate from the Walt Daily.
A 1-year master's program?
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
It's fairly educational.
Well, I look at you. You're
Like,
super educated now.
When you listen to other Disney podcasts, do you get educated? Or
Yeah.
is it just like stuff that you just learn about? Like you already know, kind of?
No, I mean, I think it also depends on the podcast because some podcasts are more about history, some are more about opinions. So I think it really depends on the podcast. Like we kind of do a little bit of both. Like we're doing opinions today, but a lot of what we have done in the past is history.
Like how we're talking about listening to podcasts on a podcast. Meta.
I was gonna say metamorphosis, but then I was like, that's not right. That's not right.
Well, to finish off, then I would say, is there any controversy that would randomly come to the top of your mind that you think is like a huge deal that I didn't mention?
I think probably the biggest thing for me has been the princess thing because I actually think about that a lot because the way that, I mean, even from the 90s, it's different the way we see women portrayed in children's media.
Yeah.
And I think that it's such a crazy thing to see that, I mean, I say it like it was like last year, but the 90s, I guess, was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But to see how far we've come and the demand for women being shown in a certain light, especially to the younger generation, I mean, I think that's just a crazy thing, crazy turn of events that's happened since I was younger.
Yeah. Well, the question was, though...
Oh!
Is there any controversial topic that comes to mind that I did not mention?
Let's see. Something that's recent. The monorails. That's...
What?
The monorails apparently are needing to be have overhauled in Walt Disney World. And so
That's controversial.
Here's what happened. It was either last week or the week before last. There was a monorail that had the windows blown out.
Wait, I thought they.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Did you figure it
exactly.
out? Okay.
So the reason why the windows were out was because Disney actually took them out, not because they fell off, which was the initial scandal.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes to show you that guests are really itching to get new monorails because of safety issues that have arisen in the past, like recent past, where let's say the monorail door is just open and Disney's not taking action by, at least on the outside, it doesn't look like they're taking much action to refurbish these monorails, these aging monorails.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
is that what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
Okay.
Perfect.
Gosh, that was hard.
Yeah. Well, I hope everyone has a little bit more info as to some controversial stuff that happens in your magical world. And
Wow, that sounded really mean.
no, I'm just saying. I think
Why did you have to say it like that? Your magical world.
it's not the magic has some I don't know interesting magic.
There you go.
I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it. You can follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms at The Walt Daily. I'm pretty confident if you just type in The Walt Daily on any social media platform, you will find us. Add us to your Alexa Flash briefing. Let us know what you think about the briefings. We've been putting them on the podcast feed now, so I'd like to see what your thoughts are. And
So they're available at all times for listening.
yeah, daily, The Walt.
There you go. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. We'd love to hear any feedback you have, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.